Hello again everyone, and welcome to the back garden yard. In today's video we are going to plant some bok choy, some beets, some carrots, and some radish. And you will notice that these are all the 50-cent Walmart packages. So we're going to see how those 50-cent packages you get at Walmart come out. So what we're going to do also is plant some bok choy, and I saved these seeds, and I think if you can see this, you'll see how small these seeds are, and you can see how many I have. I've got hundreds of them. So we're going to plant some bok choy, we're going to plant some beets, and I'm going to pour the beets into this bowl. And this is what the beet seeds look like. Now, I'm going to go ahead and soak these. These are large seeds and it takes them a while to come up. So we're going to soak these in rainwater, of course. Let me get a little rainwater. And we will let these soak, but only for the time it takes me to prepare the ground for planting, which is probably going to be an hour or two. And of course this video is not going to be an hour or two. I will edit it, try to get it all done in about 20 minutes. Okay, and then we're going to look at the carrot seeds. Carrot seeds are tiny seeds, and they're almost like dust. They're like little lettuce seeds, and you just can't hardly pick them out if you wet them. So we are not going to wet these, because now I can pick them up and put them in the ground. And that's one of the things, is people put them in there too close. Well, you want your carrots to be spaced apart, and instead of having to thin them out and everything, if you'll take your time and plant them the proper way, you'll get them coming up kind of spaced. Takes some time, but that's the way to do it. And then finally we have the radish. These are the sparkler white tips, my favorite kind of salad radishes, and we're going to put them out. Now, I don't know if you've ever planted radishes, but these things come up in like 3 to 5 days. All you got to do is put them just a little bit of dirt on them, and they will come up in 3 to 5 days. They just come popping out of the ground, so there's no need to soak them. So the only thing we are going to soak is going to be the beets. Okay, well, now that we've shown what we're doing, I'll go out and I'll show you how to prepare the ground. Okay, so now I have got the string lines to mark where the seeds are going. I've got them tied, but I haven't got them spaced. I thought I would let you see that. And also, as far as spacing goes, you can see this stick right here, this bamboo stick, is just a little bit wider than the rototiller. So what I'm doing is I'm measuring where my plants will be, and then I want to make sure that I leave a rototiller wide pathway so I can weed with the rototiller around the rows. So here's my stick, and there's my line. I think you can see that. So the line is going to go straight down to the other, and then to the other end, and then I'm going to put a row of radishes in, and then I will space that out so that I can put the rototiller through there, and then I'm going to put the bok choy down here. After the bok choy will come the carrots, And the carrots are going to take special handling. And then after the carrots will come the beets. And that's all we're going to do today. So I think you're getting the idea of what we're going to do, but I'm going to go ahead and show it to you. Okay folks, so this is how it's going to look. Right here, this row here is going to be the radishes. And then in between these two lines here, I'm going to sow a big patch of bok choy. This will be an open row here where I can run the tiller down it. This will be the carrot row over here. Get a better look at the carrot row. So this will be the carrot row right here. I'll probably put 2 rows of carrots in here. Then this will be an open row. And then there'll be 2 rows of beets over here. And that's the way it's going to look. So what I'm going to let you see is how I run the tiller down. I'm going to run the tiller down this row and then the carrot row. And what I'm going to do is I want to make sure that I pull dirt up in a little mound for every section, so that when the water comes and it rains, it will flow in between the rows and not over them. And that way then I'll get the kind of drainage I need in case we have really hard rains, which we usually have every spring. So let's get to it. I'll let you see a little of this rototiller and then how I move the dirt. So this is why it's important to make your rows wide enough so you can run the rototiller down the rows. And that's exactly why I use that stick to measure them. Now I'm moving the dirt, and therefore I'm going to have plenty of dirt up on the bok choy row. Now I'm back in the carrot row, and I'm taking the dirt out of the carrot row. And the reason I'm taking the dirt out of the carrot row is so that I can run the tiller back through it again and get it even deeper, because you want those carrot roots to be able to get down deep and make carrots. And if they hit something hard down there, they won't. So now I'm going to have to go ahead and pull the dirt back into the carrot row, but I'm going through it one more time just to make sure that I've got it really, really deep so that the carrots will be able to make a full-size carrot there. And that's exactly what I'm doing right there, is digging out a spot that was a little too hard. And then I'm going to go ahead and move the strings, and I'm going to pull the dirt back in and actually pull dirt from in between the rows and make a mound of the dirt in the carrot row. So there'll be plenty of dirt for the little carrots to sink their roots into and make carrot roots. So now I'm actually in the process of pulling the dirt back, and you can see where that wire is getting in the way. So I'll figure that out in just a second and move it. And here we go. And then I'm going to speed everything up just because it's too boring to sit there and watch somebody move rows and rows of dirt. But this is very important if you're growing carrots. You need to have plenty of dirt for them to grow in, and it wouldn't have hurt for me to have actually added a bag or 2 of cow manure, the cow and compost, but this soil's been treated with that so many times it's probably fine to do it without that. Okay, people familiar with my channel know what's coming now. I'm going to put a little 10-10-10 on each row and then rake it in for the final raking. Then I'm going to make the rows and plant it. And I'm just going to get some 10-10-10 and I'm going to sprinkle it like I would salt on the food. Now, I'm just going to take the hoe and I'm going to make some very, very straight trenches with the back of the hoe. I think I'll do it on the outside. Right, follow that line and just make a little trench as straight as possible. Now here those little tiny seeds are, and that's what I was talking about early in the video, is you just want to come down the row and separate them. We're going to do 2 rows, and therefore I won't have to thin them nearly as much if I'll take my time and plant them the correct way. So what I'm going to do to keep my back from getting broken, I'm going to get that kneeling stool, and I'm going to kneel my way down and take my time and plant them the correct way. So what I'll do is I'll go down the row first, just making sure I get some all the way down, then I'll just come back and double up on some spots. And I think you get the idea, folks. Now I'm going to plant the beets, and I'm also going to plant the radish the same way. We'll go back and I'll show you how I sow the seeds on the bok choy when I come back. Okay folks, so I've got the whole row seeded, and I thought I would show you how I cover them up, because that is important. I just come by and take just enough loose dirt to just get in the hole a little and make contact with those little seeds. You don't want to cover them up deep, and the rain and the water you're going to water them with will actually cover them up also, but they do need to make contact with the soil. So that's all I do to cover them up, is just throw a little bit of soil down in that row on these tiny seeds. And I think that's why a lot of people don't like to plant carrots, because they can't get a good stand of them because they're so small. They bury them too deep. But if you'll get them up so that they don't get washed away like this, and then they've got a row in there for the rain to go through on both sides, and then if you'll just go ahead and lightly cover them up and then water them, they will come up and you will get carrots. Okay, so we're over here now at the bok choy, and I have so many bok choy seeds. I'm just going to sow them into here, and I'll show you how I do that. In between these 2 wires, I'm just going to literally take them and go back and forth like that, letting them fall out of the hand. This is the same way that I sow lettuce, and I've already sown my lettuce for this year, but we'll go over and take a look at how it came up with this method as soon as I finish this. So I'm not going to waste all the time for all of this, because I want to cover it good. So what I'm going to do now is show you how I rake this in once I've got the seed sowed. So I literally just take the back of the rake and just kind of push it over just enough to make the soil make contact with the seeds. And when I pull up a little of this stuff here, I'll go through and pick that out with my hand and get it out. But that's all there is to it. You don't want to pack it down. You do want to water it as soon as we're finished. But that's all you've got to do to plant bok choy and lettuce in the outdoor garden. Okay, and then finally, after a day of planting, it's time to water it in. Okay folks, so it has been 1 week. These were planted on April the 1st. Today's date is April the 7th. So it's been 1 week, and as you can see, the lines are right over the little trails I made to plant the seeds. And these right here are the beets. And there's no sign of the beets yet, but they usually take more than 7 days to come up. These were the seeds I sowed. Then the next 2 rows are the carrots, and the carrots haven't shown up yet, so I'm waiting for them. But then we have the bok choy, and the bok choy came jumping out of the ground as I knew it would. And so I've got a nice row of bok choy here, and it is looking fine. Now this was sowed exactly like the lettuce was in the back. So we're going to go look at the lettuce as soon as we look at these radishes. But this is the bok choy. And then over here I have the radishes. And they came up just right. I've got them spaced, so there's going to be very little thinning required for these. Very little thinning required for these radishes. And so they came up very nice, and they're still coming up. You can see this one's still poking his little head out today. So that's my row of radishes. And over here, just getting a sunbathe, are my sweet potatoes. These were started from 1 sweet potato, and I've got the follow-up video coming. I just want to make sure that it's going to stay warm enough. Last 2 nights it got down into the upper 30s, and that's too cold to put sweet potatoes out. But I've got them out today, letting them get hardened. Hardened means the sun is getting sun exposure so they can last when I plant them outside. This is Volunteer red romaine lettuce. This came up just where I had some planted last year, just from the seeds that hit the ground. And I mean, it is beautiful and delicious. And this I didn't even have to plant. It just came up on its own. And then of course the last thing I'll show you over here is the asparagus. And it is just jumping out of the ground. I gotta pick that. The little skinny ones I let stay so they can build better roots, and that way then they'll make thicker ones next year. But the thick ones we've been picking and eating every 2 or 3 days, a crop just like this. Asparagus is just really doing great this year. I made a video on how to dress your asparagus patch. All right, let's go over and look at the lettuce. So I sowed this lettuce exactly as I just showed when I sowed the bok choy. I just came in and I put the seeds on top of the ground and then just lightly raked them in, and I've been watering it just about every day. We haven't had rain now in about a week, and you can see that the leaves now are turning the similar color to what I just showed you for the red romaine lettuce back there on the Volunteer patch. But this was newly planted about 2 weeks ago now. And I also planted what they call mesclun. It's a mixture of different lettuce greens, and we'll see if we can see some of them. This one here with the very wide hand-sized petals. These here, there's looks like more red romaine in this mixture. And anyway, so all this was planted about 2 weeks ago, and it is coming up good. I didn't plant in the middle because it was a seed pack and I didn't have unlimited seed. Therefore, I can use some of this dirt to support the plants now that they're getting big enough to need support. So this is what I planted here, the classic mix mesclun. Okay, so I really hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please like and subscribe, and we'll be following along with these plants as they continue to grow and as the season progresses. And we will see you on the next video.